bring you the entertainment segment and the social media trends. Well, big thing happened and we decided to take a big move. Today is the 10th anniversary of Chapol operation in Anambra State. And when we talk about Chapol, we're talking about Chaplain Corps Policing Explorers. That's Chapol. Today they are marking their 10 years anniversary and they decided to come and spend it with us. And we are like, well, special occasion call for special measures. All right, so we have members of Chapol and their friends right here in the studio. I tell you, it's a full house. But before I usher them in, I'd like to play this introductory video for you. Then we can start the interview proper.
1st of July 2023, Chaplain Corps Policing Explorers Chapol, Anambra State Command marks 10 years of her operations in Anambra State Government Secondary Schools. The operation centers on teaching the students practical moral values, checkmating of lateness to schools, and monitoring of loitering and truancy during school hours in the 268 government secondary schools in Anambra State, as well as organizing and hosting of annual conferences on moral values for students. The operation, which is in collaboration with Anambra State Ministry of Education and Post-Primary School Service Commission (PPSSC), is aimed at curbing the upsurge of moral decadence and other social vices among students of public secondary schools in Anambra State, such as cultism, drug abuse, examination malpractice, theft, lesbianism, homosexuality, lateness to schools, loitering and truancy during school hours, amongst others. Indeed, the impacts and positive sentiments that has trailed Chapol Anambra State Command operations in Anambra State Government Secondary Schools are undeniable.
Well, like I told you, it's a full house. I tell you, it's way full beyond what you can see. You know, they say it depends on where you see the cup. Is it half full or halfway empty? But I tell you, it's a full studio. We have, I'm going to be running this first segment of the interview. Then my colleague David will still come with another set of Chapol and friends. And I have with me here, like I said, Chapol and friends. And first of all, I have the state commandant of Chapol, Joseph Ekunife. Do you call it comrade or commander?
No, commandant.
Okay, commandant. They are
the labor union.
Okay, commandant, that's better. And then we also have somebody that is a friend of the house. You've been seeing his face often. I'm talking about Dr. Nelson Omenora. He is special advisor to the executive governor of Anambra State on youth empowerment. Doc,
very glad to be
back.
here.
Since the wedding, we've not really seen you, have we?
I've been minding my wife.
All right, we also have the chairman of All Nigerian Congress of Principals of Secondary Schools, ANCOPS, Anambra State Chapter. He's also the principal of Igwebike Grammar School, Oka. I'm talking about Mr. Jovita Arazo.
Good morning, viewers. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you very much. All right, before I go into a lot of questions I have, because I watched the introductory video and I'm like, wow. That's a huge one for a body. But I'd like to know what's Chapol all about, not from the angle of the introduction now, but from the angle of the commandant.
Well, just like already said, I wouldn't say anything different from what is already said.
Okay.
Chapol is a non-governmental paramilitary organization made up of Christian professionals. Ministers of God from Catholic, Anglican, Pentecostal come together. So that's what Chapol is all about.
Oh, okay. So I'd like to come from the government angle now. It's non-governmental, but I'm seeing the advisor to the governor here. So I assume that for somebody of your capacity, Doc, to be here, that means something special. So I'd like to know how you're working, how the government is involved in what Chapol is doing.
Well, I think, thank you, Lucy. Very glad to be here. This is like homecoming too. Let me say that you can't talk about Chapol without talking about the youth, because their main focus is students, and that is where, and secondary schools, and that is where you have major number of young people, because there you find people between the age of 14, 15 to 20, and these fall under the brackets of young people and youth. I've been an opportunity to work closely with them from 2014 when I was the personal assistant to the Honorable Commissioner for Education at that time. And ever since then, I have been watching the activities closely. But talking about this present administration, because what they are doing is in line with the grand vision of Mr. Governor Professor Charles Soludo. You know, that's why, you know, they are still here, you know, trying to support the government, and also trying to serve as a gap between the teachers and family. I've argued forcefully that family values have drastically gone down. Parents no longer have time for their children. They no longer have time to communicate with them because of the competitive nature of the world and life. And also teachers are, well, doing their best, but not enough to curb the young people excesses, that is students excesses. So Chapol now comes in as the gap between family institution and the school itself. You know, trying to ensure that students, particularly the secondary school students, are not just focused, but that their SSs are termed. So that is why, you know, their activities, and I like particularly, you know, their activities because it is quite specialized. You know, their focus is on secondary school children, and these are where once you get it wrong, you forget that youth, because that particular person. So the level at the stage that they are in, that's the secondary school student, is a stage that is very delicate, that if you leave them to just in the hands of the peer pressure, that they are going to be negative. Most of them are going to be negatively influenced. So Chapol has come in to ensure that social vices are, you know, quite arrested in the secondary school, and that the students are kept focused on why they're in school.
All right, I'm really happy Chapol is playing this role, but I'd like to find out from you, Mr. Jovita Arazu, what exactly is the cause of this increasing social vices in secondary schools? Because I'm not exempting primary or university, but it's becoming obvious that when it comes to secondary school, it's as if it is at that age that we notice most of these vices. What are the causes?
You see, the societal influence, the society we're in now, money-based, everything, they glorify money, whichever way you make it. In the social media, you even see the Yahoo boys exhibiting their wares, the ritualists, the medicine men. So all these things sometimes influence some of these students. They feel that throwing the part of education is a waste of time. They want to join them and make money fast. We have seen in the social media where some very young SS1, SS2 students has come to some of these herbalists to see if they can give them the easiest way to make money. Okay. So we have the societal factor. We worship money here. We don't glorify discipline anymore. Then the home factor. In the homes, parents don't, early in the morning they have left, come back late in the night. The students are left on their own. They have the phones, they have the TV where they can access, and they have the radio. They call their friends, some of them come to them they mess up. So the family influence we had during our time is no longer there. During our time, our parents are always at home. In the morning, when they're going to work, they take you to school. They come back with you, they stay with you, ask you about what you did in school, until in the night, every person prays and retires. Now the parents are too busy. Peer group influence too in this school, in this society. So we have a lot of distractions for some of these students. So we have quite a number of them that are focused.
Okay. All right, so Commandant, I'd like to come back to you. Now, you, the intro, and you concord with the intro. So when I quote the intro, I feel like I'm on point. Now, from the intro, Chapol is like the middleman, like Doc said, the middleman. But I'd like to ask this question. The school is there, playing their role. The home is there, playing their role. And yet, we're still witnessing increase in these social vices. So I would like to know what method, what is Chapol doing differently that the school is not doing and the home is not doing? How is Chapol helping in curbing some of these vices? Because I see, I heard exam malpractice, cultism, and lots of them. So I'd like to know, what is the magic Chapol is doing that maybe the school is not doing and the home is not doing?
Okay, thank you very much. I think let me take it back from the beginning. How it all began. Just like I said before, Chapol is a non-governmental paramilitary organization. It was based on that resolve. Of course, we decided to, as an informal organization, governmental, we decided to contribute our quota to the fight against crime and criminality. But we decided to take it to the roots. I call it the roots. The youths. Okay, so because we know that the security agencies are dealing with the fight and the crime. So we now say, let us now curb the crime. And in curbing the crime, we decided to come down to the secondary schools. Initially, at the starting point, we first of all do an investigation, went around the schools, asked questions, and we saw the vices among the students. That was in 2012. So based on that strength of that resolve, we approached the then secretary of the PPSS, Chief Zemeko Lisa, then, and explained to him that we've seen the vices, we want to come in and help. So meetings upon meetings, and at the end of the day, they now had a management meeting of the commission that involves the commission, the principals, and the zonal director of education of the PPSS. So that was on 20th July at the Namdas Secondary School at Nasa. So that was what I was invited to. Now, just like you asked, to tell them which budget we want to bring in to help save the situation. So I addressed the meeting, and after the meeting, there and then, they now said, okay, let's give us a trial. So we selected 12 secondary schools as pilot school, 2 each from the education zones. So we did the first pilot, and it was after the first pilot that the principals were like I said, something different.
Please, can you tell us that's something different? I want to hear it.
So there's something different, actually, just like the SSA. There is a bridge. A bridge in the sense, the anchor chairman also said that there is a drop in values of families. It's a drop in good families, just like you said, the way we are raised up on this, there's a drop. When you come to school system also, the school, I used to say that the government school still boasts of the best teachers you can think of above the private schools. But the point there still remains, the more the vices is increasing, the students technically are growing wings bigger than the school. The advent of internet, they see things maybe colleagues or friends did, used to do over there, which is not in our culture. And so they think they can also grow that kind of wing. And the teacher will not be able to deal with this issue. So that's where we come in to bring it down. Like I give an example, we went to one of the schools, and then a student came to school late, and he was wearing palms instead of sandals. And the teacher just asked, remove your drop the palms. And he said, and we were just driving in. In fact, on driving in, he was pointing to the teacher. You know, so and that was at the point we were coming in.
Oh, okay.
And of course, on seeing us,
He got scared.
and we were able to deal with the situation. And as a matter of fact, I forced him. He was an SST student. I forced him to go to the teacher in JS3, kneel down before the students, and apologize to the teacher, which the teacher told me is nearly impossible. According to the teacher, they have a clique. He said this one have their own group. They come to school their own time. So the presence of Chapol is to create that consciousness that the discipline in school. Okay. You come to school to learn. You come to school to be trained. So if you carry your issue, if you take your issue from your family where you're not properly trained, let me use the word not properly trained, I want to introduce it to the school, Chapol is there to bridge that gap. That school is where you come to learn and you must learn.
Thank you very much.
So that's the different thing we are doing.
Oh, okay, so I'd like to go back to Doc. Doc, so far so good. I would like to know, this administration, the solution administration, is here to provide solution to everybody, both the secondary school students, the youths generally. So I would like to know, so far, has the administration put in thoughts towards Chapol or how to help Chapol? Is there any plan on ground to work with Chapol?
Certainly, this administration, ably led by my leader and principal, Professor Charles Oludo, is quite very passionate on consolidating on the gains of the past administration. Chapol is an exciting story, and this administration is bent on expanding the level of partnership with them. Of course, as you heard from the commandant, they are working closely with the Ministry of Education and the PPSAC, and of course ANCOPS. That is why you can see the ANCOPS chairman here, because of the cordial relationship that exists between these bodies. So this is what the administration is quite willing to do, continue the partnership. You can also see that Chapol paid courtesy visit to the wife of the governor and handed her over some documents and enumerated some of the activities. And this is the kind of thing that the First Lady and Mr. Governor appreciate, because you can't grow a society, the government will always say, in a lawless setting. There have to be conformity, there have to be law and order for even a greater Anambra to thrive. Anambra is not a banana republic. The youth are even the focus of this administration. That is why the governor is paying closer attention with initiatives that will equip them with skills. Talk about one youth, two skills. Talk about the solution business innovation district, the SID. Talk about so many other activities that we've done and still doing to make sure that the young people are fully engaged. As you know, the people in secondary school today will come out to become university students tomorrow. As small as they are today, tomorrow they are going to become the big youths. Of course, they are youths because according to African Charter, youths are defined by age, which is 15 to 34 or 35 years by African Charter. But for Nigeria, youths are defined those mainly between the age of 15 and 29. So you can see that those in secondary school fall under this category. We've also designed program to ensure that once students are coming out from school, that training are being given to them, so that as they are getting to university, they are also going in there with some sort of skills. These are approaches and measures being put by the government to ensure that everybody is on the table, nobody is left behind, no youth is left behind. Okay. And here is also to assure the Anambra that the activities of Chapol will continue to be appreciated. I've also spoken with him on a personal note to see how he can come into the youth ministry also to begin to mainstream some of these activities across community. But also we have to ensure that the schools are well sorted out before they go into community.
That's a
yeah.
topic for another day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Principal, please, a quick sharp, before the end of this segment, I'd like to know your advice to principals of other schools, the board which you chair, and also parents in working with Chapol.
Well, Chapol has been doing great work in our schools. They're complementing what the teachers do. They come to school, they look into moral decadence and discipline of the students. They spend only 6 hours with us and go back to the home. So within this time, we do our best, but they come in and complement. So they're doing great work, and the schools are enjoying it.
Oh, thanks. That's a testimony.
Whenever there is upsurge, in indiscipline or decadence, they call them. We have their numbers. We call them, and before you know it, they're there.
Oh, all right. So, Doc, Mr. Chavita, have actually solicited support. So, I'd like to know, before we pick videos of some interviews on individuals who support Chapol, do you have anything to add about support you've been getting? Have you been getting support from the government? Like they said, have you really been getting these supports, individuals, government? Well, or you feel there is still more to come?
Well, the truth of the matter is, just like my friend Doc said, the first thing first is the moral support.
Okay.
That's the primary thing. If you don't get the moral support, you ask for further support. So first of all, we've gotten the moral support. Okay. Why it was the PA to the commissioner, we've worked very closely. And that was the former commissioner, Prosecutor Menova. Through her assistance, she helped in facilitating a 2406 vehicle that was given to Chapol in 2016. And that's what we've gotten from government.
No more will come. So, he said more will come.
I have to believe my friend because he knows we need vehicles. And Anambra State has got 268 government secondary schools and 6 education zones. And we cover these schools. So
when we return, we'll be talking about what you need and some of the challenges you're facing. But for now, we want to really thank you, Mr. Chovita Arazu, Chairman, All Nigerian Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools, Anambra State Chapter, and also the principal of Igwebike Grammar School. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on Chapol with us.
Thank you very much.
And then we also want to thank Dr. Nelson Omeno, a special advisor to the Executive Governor of Anambra State on youth empowerment, for the support.
It's always a pleasure. I will continue to do more. It's work in progress.
Yeah, it's work in progress.
We will.
All right, so we're going to take a short break, bring you some of the interviews on individuals and some government officials who have so far been of great support to Chapol. And also we have a report for you on Chapol. Remember that when we return, it will no longer be me, to be my colleague David Opokwasere with the chairman, the commandant, state commandant of Chapol, Mr. Joseph Ekwonife. We'll be back.
It's more of pro bono. Nobody's paying you for this. This is serving humanity in all these ramifications. And you have done very well. When I first taken the vehicles that you had, because I believe if you were not doing well, I wouldn't do that. Of course, you don't know. Yes. So I hope that you continue to work for Anambra State, and continue to impact on our children. The greatest challenge we have now is this colonial thing that is happening. All these children, it's terrible. So we need more efforts to help that. I pray that the next commissioner that is coming will understand also the passion that drives most things that we do in education. It's not about making money. It's about dedication. It's about selflessness. It's about sacrifices. We have made those sacrifices together. So what I'm asking and pleading with God is that He will continue to bless the effort. I want to tell you, yes, I'm proud to be associated with Chapol.
The Chapol has been very wonderful allies to the Ministry of Education. I inherited them from the past administration, and I have been very much impressed with what they are doing, and we want them to continue to. So, taking interest of other people's children is like taking a burden that does not really belong to you. But these people are doing it because of their love for humanity. So we are here to accept and support all their initiatives.
The passing out parade of the cadet officers was aimed at strengthening the command's operations in schools. Chaplain Corps Policing Explorers, in collaboration with the Post-Primary School Service Commission (PPSSC) and the Ministry of Basic Education, have helped in curbing moral decadence and other social vices among youths in Anambra State schools for the past 8 years. Addressing the officers, the chairman PPSSC, Lady Ife Okaro, represented by the deputy chairman PPSSC, Lady Pat Ofia, said the group has been working hard in entrenching moral rectitude in the lives of Anambra youths and encouraged them to remain determined in such voluntary vocation. She pleaded with affluent individuals in the state to assist the group.
Your job is that of sacrifice. You give it your best shot. You chose yourselves, we did not choose you. And so for you to give yourself up for service or services, you would have looked inwards. You would have checked yourself. I thank you for volunteering to work with the schools.
In his speech, the State Commander FRSC, Mr. Andrew Kumapai, represented by the Deputy Corps Commander Christy Obasi, charged the officers to be courageous in their selfless service. Commissioning the new cadets, the presiding bishop, Life of Faith Gospel Assembly, Unkwele Zunaka, Right Reverend Ima Obiora, said any voluntary service to humanity is a loan to God with better reward and not an award.
So the first advice to every one of us is to be diligent in what we are doing. Whether it is volunteer work or selfless work or school work or whatever work, do it with all diligence. You know the reason? Reason is because a diligent man must be rewarded.
Earlier in his address, the State Commandant Chapol, Joseph Ekunife, whose address was read by the Command Director, Media and Publicity, Ms. Joy Otokere, said the command will continue to do its part in curbing moral decadence, reinforcing good morals and ethical standards, and making schools safe again for the students, teachers, and parents.
We commend his tireless commitment towards ensuring a crime-free Anambra State. Without there will be no meaningful development.
The ceremony climaxed with the decoration of the 28 new cadets as officers of the command by Josiah Ozondo from Cross River State Command.
Yes, if you're just joining us, this is still the weekend show, and this morning we are having extended discussions looking at, like we usually do on the show, we look at social issues happening in our society. This is the second half of our discussions on the 10th year anniversary of Chapol's operations in government schools. For the past 30 minutes, we've been looking at different dimensions of their works in schools and how they've been impacting lives, their partnership with government to ensure that we create a safer environment for our children and to give them that moral basis and values that they need to grow up as young people. So we'll continue our discussion in the few minutes that remain for us. We'll continue to explore other areas of partnership, other areas that they can also be engaged
in ensuring that we have a better school system, a better value system in our country, and especially in Anambra State, where Chapol has been working for the past 10 years. If you're just joining us, it is still the weekend show, and I have with me here the state commandant of Chapol. He is Joseph Ekunife. He's been speaking to us a few minutes ago. He's been telling us about this program and how Chapol has been involved in growing our young people. Good morning and welcome again to the program. All right, we're also joined by Emma Adibe, the Deputy State Commandant in charge of school operations, Chapol, and also a pastor at Redeemed Christian Church, Oka here. Good morning and welcome. Also.
It's my pleasure.
All right. We have Reverend Canon Frank Prince Aniako, Nnewi Area Commander of Chapol and Vicar in charge of St. Stephen's Anglican Church, Umuenem Otolo Nnewi. St. Paul's Anglican Church, Umuenem Otolo Nnewi. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right. I'm happy we have Reverend gentlemen in Chapol who are also involved in this, because when we talk about creating the value skills for our young people, you cannot remove the religious aspect of moral upbringing. But before we move into different dimensions, I want to ask a question that Oluchi raised behind the cameras. Is Chapol only meant for men? I want to understand.
No, not at all.
Okay.
We have so many ladies and women, and of course,
okay.
State PRO is a lady. How many of them? Of course, you see my director media reading my
the
case that was played. She said, it's for ladies, women, just like every other uniform organization.
All right, before we go into, I want to help people who are just joining the program to understand better about Chapol. Someone that didn't join when the program started. Give us a little more background about Chapol again.
Okay, just like I said initially, Chapol is a non-governmental paramilitary organization made up of Christian professionals, as you already had, drawn from the Catholic, the Anglican, the Pentecostal. So these are the bodies that make up Chapol. So more or less, we don't call it religious body because it's a uniform organization.
Yes.
But it's a paramilitary non-governmental organization made up of trained men of God. Trained men of God from Catholic, trained men of God from Anglican, trained men of God from Pentecostal, who are now trained, already clergies, who will now be trained in that paramilitary formation to qualify them to wear the uniform. And also, in respect to their operational code.
Must members be clergymen?
Not necessarily, they must not be.
Okay.
They must not be. We have those who are like, I'm not a clergyman.
Okay. Because that's what you mentioned, yes.
No, I'm not a clergyman. It's not, you must not be. But just like you said, why we have this base is because you already said it, behind every form of immorality, there's spiritual protection attached to it. So it's for everybody, but must be morally sound.
Okay. Talking about that morally sound, I want to bring you in a little bit into the part of ecumenism. He mentioned that the membership is drawn from across all Christian organizations. How do you ensure that these young people are taught these morals and those skills that they need while balancing it with the core concept of being drawn from across all Christian organizations? Mr. Adiba.
Yeah, we have a teaching pattern.
Okay.
We have a program for them. Yeah, we don't go to schools without harmonizing what we teach. We make sure that everybody who goes to school teaches what we have planned to teach for that particular day. And our teaching center on morals, talking about morals, we talk about forgiveness, the need for forgiveness, the need to be your brother's keeper, talk about courage, they need to study hard, they need to, we teach morals, everything that has to do with morals, and we make sure that these lessons are inculcated in the children. When we go there, we don't go to teach any other thing apart from morals. Yeah, the fear of God. They need for them to fear God. They need them to take their destiny in their hands. They need for them to respect. They need for respect, for discipline. They need for them to to be disciplined, to respect their elders, you know, and to love one another. So these are some of the virtues we teach when we go to schools.
Okay, Canon Anyako, tell us why the model or the style that Chapol uses to reach these young people is different and unique to achieve a better result. Because when we talk about inculcating morals, several people are involved in this process. How is the process or the model that Chapol used different, and how does it make more impact on these young people?
It's different because we have taken it out of the church setting. We've removed denominational dogmas. We've lifted the word of God. Sometimes we paraphrase it. Sometimes we quote it. We come to you in a very simple way. You look at us, you don't get afraid. We speak to you as a father, as a mother. We just tell you stories of our lives and some other lives, the good ones, the bad ones, how it shaped us, where we began, where we are, where we are going. When we tell you these things, instead of using a brute force, we now use the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Every denomination reads the Bible. So it's centered on that. When we pick the Bible, we make the Bible come alive. We use life experiences to teach you. And when we do this, the intent, our motive is to draw you out of the wrong path and set you on a good path. We meet you at your primary place of assignment, at your school. So we can leave at 4 a.m. to get to Otuocha before the assembly or within the assembly. We pick you there. While we're there before you, you come late, you see us there. You want to give us excuses why you have come late. It is far, it is this. We not tell you that we have driven from Newi, somebody has driven from Oka, somebody has driven to another far off place, Orumba, to get to Otuocha or within those environments. You know what it takes. And we are here before you. You see now, it's a matter of that moral. It's a matter of timing, priority, prioritizing. It's just like this issue of lateness and so on. I always teach people, if you get up by 4 a.m., if you make it a habit, you rise by 4 a.m., you say your personal prayer, you commune with God first before you commune with any other fellow. 4:30, your family gets together, 5 o'clock, you're ready for your preparation for school. There's no way you will not get to school before 7 a.m. At worst, you're there 7 a.m. You calm down, you collect yourself, you prepare your mind for the day's business. But if you wake late, maybe because you are browsing through your phone, 11, 12, you are still not yet asleep, you wake up late. Or you are watching movies, 9, 10, 11, 12. When you lie down, your body will want to have its rest. Then you get up late, you come to school late.
All right, let me bring you in before we take a clip of one of the videos we have here. Reaching out to these young people. I know that, like he mentioned, schools like, Tocha and several other schools in the hinterlands. What are the challenges you face as an organization, as a non-governmental organization, reaching those kind of schools? How do you ensure that you bring those people to also be beneficiaries of what you're doing? And then most importantly, can someone partner Chapol in these reach out missions you do?
Yes, of course. Let me say that that has been another challenge.
Okay.
Every of us here, my deputy commandant in charge of school operations, the new commander of Chapol, myself, all of us, virtually all our officers, most of us, our cars are worn out. These things have been our personal vehicles. And of course, we know what it means to drive from here Otuwacha, he mentioned it just, we go to as far as Omasi, Umeji, Umerum, some of these interior places, and it's not been easy. It's not been easy. It's been the issue of vehicles, means of movement. Vehicles, bags, means of movement has been a big challenge. We are doing it because we are doing this as a career. We are doing it as a vision and passion. So just like rightly as anybody that we are appealing to our solution governor. We are appealing to our solution mother, Her Excellency, the wife of the governor, who already have told us that she's with Chapol, having had the opportunity of paying her a courtesy call. She's seeing what we've done, and she's very passionate. She's very passionate, very good woman, very passionate about what we're doing. So, and she's of course asked me to write to the Commissioner of Women Affairs, itemize our needs, that it will get to her, and she will beg the governor. Of course, we know she's not the governor.
Yes, exactly.
She will beg the governor. And I want to believe that she has been begging our governor, please, our father. So I will say, our governor and our father, please, listen to our mother and help us with this. He's actually tearing us. We're actually going through a lot. And we're also appealing to eminent Anambarians, both home and abroad, both in diaspora but in Nigeria. What Chapol is doing is, of course, I wouldn't say, we had it from the essay to the governor on youth empowerment programs, we had it from the principal. What we are doing the job we are doing in school is enormous. And is doing a lot of assisting the school system to reduce this issue of social vices. So we are appealing to eminent Anambarians within home and abroad. Please, Chapol is the right place to invest in. Because investing in Chapol means investing in the future of our children. Because if they grow up tomorrow to become criminals, nobody will come home. Everybody will stay in your area of travel. We also what happened at the early stage of our governors taking over until the governor stamped his foot on the ground and said no. He could not take over Anambra State. He took decisive decision. Otherwise, we may not be able to be in this studio now. So the issue of support is paramount for us now. Very paramount for us now. So we're making that appeal to His Excellency, our solution governor, and Anambarians, women abroad, senators, Chapol can be a constitutional project. You can't do a vehicle for, after all, schools are not inside the government house. They're in towns, they're in constituencies, they're in senatorial zones. So as a senator, you can say, okay, for my senatorial zone, I give Chapol 1 vehicle, 2 vehicles, 3 vehicles for my senatorial zone. This other senator in my senatorial house of revenue, these things can be. We mustn't leave it for Anambra State government alone. The children belongs to everybody. So why am I appealing to the governor of Anambra State, His Excellency, Professor Chukwu CFR, our solution governor and working governor, that he should please provide solution for Chapol too. We are in need of it.
All right. Before we continue with the questions, let's go for a short break now. We'll bring you one of the videos that we prepared. When we come back, we'll begin to tie up loose knots here.
During the event open, Anambra State Commissioner for Education, Professor Ngozi Chumaude, extolled the doggedness of Chapol in inculcating moral values in students, assuring that her ministry will work together with the group to ensure a better learning in Anambra State schools. She described the theme of the conference as a veritable instrument to fight social vices in government secondary schools. Speaking on the topic, the consequences of indulging in cultism in secondary schools, Chief Inspector of Education, Delta State Minister of Education, Dr. Cyril Okoye, challenged the students to consciously avoid indulging in cultism as its consequences, both now and in the future, stagnate the social well-being of the culprit.
Anything that is done right now that is not good for your future, you have the right to resist it. The kind of value system, the kind of moral system, the kind of cultural things that we have, we are already there. So when the child is growing up and the child is taught those simple values, by the time you're handing over that child to the secondary educators, the child crosses to school. Unfortunately, the quest for money, multiple streams of income, has collapsed the home basement. And I don't start, you give me more.
On his part, Pastor Sam Obiora, Senior Pastor, Life of Faith Assembly International Nsube, took the students on how to overcome peer influence in secondary schools, urging them to be focused and to discover their true identity. In his address, the State Commandant Chapol, Commandant Joseph Ekunife, illustrates the journey of Chapol since 2013 in ensuring that students of secondary schools in the state imbibe moral rectitude to raise morally sound and God-fearing youths for a better future of Anambra State and Nigeria at large.
Our mission of doing everything we are doing in schools is to raise among students a future generation of our parents that will not be mental degree and spiritual backgrounds. So at the end of it all, we keep on reproducing the future Solugos, reproducing the future Ugolito Problem, reproducing the future Michikelu, until we produce students or youths that can be able to hold the future and run the future. The fathers can rest.
Others who spoke at the event include Barrister Titus Abudo, Asatu President General, Chief Lawrence Anibe, Chief Chukwuemeka Udodemi, President General Ohaneze Ndibo Worldwide, Dr. Nelson Omenowa, Special Advisor to Governor Soludo on Youth Empowerment, represented by Honorable Tuchuku Chiwoba, among others. There was a special drama presentation by students of Community Secondary School Opono on the topic Pay Now and Play Later. The event climaxed with unveiling of the book Out of the Crowd Season 2, written by State Commandant Chapol, Commandant Ekunife, and award of scholarship to some best students.
Program is still the weekend show. And finally, Mr. Aribe, let me ask you, for looking at these challenges you have, he has called out for people to support. What are other ways that people can join Chapol to ensure that the vision of this organization is sustained?
Well, before I answer the question, I'd like to use this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to our governor. It's because of the massive construction of roads all over the state. We now find it difficult to access some of the places we've not been accessing before. So we are grateful to Mr. Governor for this feat. He's really doing a lot to improve transportation in Anambra State. And of course, it is also helping Chapol in our work in all the schools. I think people can partner with Chapol, first of all, by encouraging us morally. That's one of the areas we so much appreciate. They should encourage us morally. They can also fund some of the programs like this program we just watched now, our conference. Before now, Chapol has been funding all these programs ourselves. We've received little or no assistance in all these things. We contribute money to do some of these things. But people can now help us, help to fund our conferences. They can also help to provide vehicles for our journeys to schools. They can also provide even machines. Even machines, very quick, All
right, Kanon, let me take your final advice to students and also in the Anambra. Your final advice before we go.
For the Anambra, we used to say, Eziafa, Kego. But now, we have turned it to Ego Keziafa. And that is no way to go. For students, the times are getting tougher all over the world. If you can sit down and read and study, the Bible says, study to show yourself approved, a right workman, who needed not to be ashamed of his work, lightly dividing the truth. When you study, recently Anambra State came first in JAMB this year. That I don't know what the JAMB is trying to do. Is it they're trying to confuse us? But the first 10, at least 4, came from Anambra State. Presently, QRC, I think they're going overseas. Another one from Premium Breed Secondary School now is going to Switzerland for another competition. Look at these people. They are students like you. They sat down under their teachers. They listen, they learn, and they're excelling. I believe that once you are well educated, you will never be poor. You have no concern with poverty.
All right, thank you very much, Canon Obiako. It's been a very wonderful discussion here, looking at Chapol's operations in government secondary school for the past 10 years. We were joined this morning by Joseph Ekunife, State Commandant of Chapol. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, and thank my Honorable Commissioner for Education, Professor Mbeli Chumode, even an amazing woman.
All right.
I'm Chairman PPSSC, Professor Kichikedi.
All right. Thank you very much. Emadi, the Deputy State Commandant in charge of school operations, Chapol, and also a pastor at Redeemed Christian Church of God. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right. We also have Reverend Canon Frank Prince, new area commander of Chapol, and also vicar in charge of St. Paul's Anglican Church, Umuanam, Otolon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
All right. In our first segment, Dr. Nelson Omenu, Special Advisor to Governor Chukwuma Soludo on Youth Empowerment, joined us. Also, Mr. Jovita Arazu, Chairman of Nigerian Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools, ANCOPS, Anambra State Chapter, and also Principal of Igwilibika Grammar School, Oka, joined us. And this is how we pull down the curtain for weekend show today. Till we'll come back same time, same station next week. Remain safe and continue to do the right thing.